Yeah, that was like the funniest part.
Yeah, I
like
said
why you would ejaculate.
I said that if I saw Rey Mysterio Jr. in person, I would tear my clothes off, ejaculate, and start writing.
Yeah, that they heard that.
Like the pop would be beyond
There's
nuclear.
no surprise if those words came out of your mouth.
No.
So, yeah, so we've got a new episode here for you guys. We're gonna be back on YouTube. We've had some serious troubles with our
Technical
YouTube.
issues. More technical issues than Triple Mania this year.
Yes, our issues with the camera gimmick has been addressed, and we are hoping that this will be a new day for our camera gimmick and for our YouTube channel. However, check out the Speedball Mike Bailey interview. It is finally up on the YouTubes, and you can check that out. It's just audio, but it was a great interview. We had a great time talking to him, and we are moving on, trying to book some more guests for our show. So, what do you guys want to lead off with tonight? I mean, like, there's some stuff going on. I guess we could talk about.
We can lead off with our introductions.
Oh.
Because you
Why
never
do we
know.
have
I
to
mean, you never
introduce?
know if someone's just finally stopped jerking it to a PewDiePie video to tune in for the first time.
My name's
What?
Hurley.
I'm Lucha John.
Yep.
Jerk it to a what?
A
That's
PewDiePie
T-Cat.
video.
He doesn't
Like
really
anime?
do the
No,
introduction
you don't know
thing.
who PewDiePie is?
Cutie pie.
PewDiePie.
PewDiePie?
I bury all normie, like, millennial bullshit, and I still know who he is. He's like the Swedish faggot who does Let's Play videos. He's like the most popular celebrity in the world.
Really?
Never heard of him.
He has like 23 million subscribers or some stupid
Are you
bullshit.
one of them?
No.
He's on
Oh.
YouTube?
Yeah.
What does he do?
He
Leave
just
Britney
yells
alone?
and makes stupid voices. With jump cuts. He's like the epitome of lazy, obnoxious bullshit that permeates YouTube nowadays.
Permeates.
Yeah. Fuck him, fuck YouTubers.
I kind of remember like a
fuck
time
the
before
12-year-olds who
YouTube.
think he's a... What do you kind of remember?
Everybody remembers
No, I mean
that.
like I remember a time where like viral videos were like a thing before YouTube was a thing.
Well, yeah.
What was that like? That was like E-Bomb's World, right?
Or fucking, like, if you shoot someone a YTMND, but that wasn't really video. It was video with Jace.
YTMD? What does that stand for?
You're the man now, dog.
Were you a Homestar Runner, Mark?
Of course I was. Like, dude, the main character of Jace is a luchador. Like,
this
how
is
could I
this
not?
is still a wrestling podcast, and there's several things that we want to talk about. But do you want to lead off with the weekend that you had
The pilgrimage, the journey.
that
the
I didn't even know you were
revelation.
going to? This is how I found out what you were doing, guys. I just met Phoenix, but I didn't want to take a photo with him because I wasn't in kayfabe. Okay, explain to me how that happened.
So I guess you want to tell this story since you're part of it, or like do you want to do the intro since you're part
I
of
don't
it,
wanna
and
do
then
anything.
You're part of this?
yeah.
Big part.
What'd you do?
Why don't you recap and then I'll take over
I
where your
wanna hear it.
journey
I'm
ends.
ready. I am all ears, babe.
Alright. Well,
Do a no big deal with Jace because I liked your retelling on there.
yeah, we did talk about it on there. So it's like Friday night at like, I'd say 8 o'clock, and Lucha John like calls me. Like, I hate calls.
You
And
hate
he
calls.
called me.
And
And
what
like-
was the first thing I said?
Like, I know,
T-Cat,
that
I know you hate calls, but
But it was alright because I think you called me once, and then you texted me.
I actually texted you first.
And then I read the text and then called back because of the text, so that was
Yeah.
alright. But he said, it was like 8 p.m., and he said something like, dude, the Lucha Underground tickets just opened up. Like, we have to go, like, right now, though. And then I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, it's tomorrow, like, at noon it starts. So it's like a 10-hour drive. We gotta leave, like, in a couple hours. Like, if you want to go, let's go. And I thought about it, and at first I said, all right, I'll go. Like, I really don't have anything going on. Like, I'm into, like, an hour's notice to go to LA. Then, like, I'm packing stuff, and I'm just thinking about everything. And I was, like, already kind of, like, winding down for the night. And I just, like, dude, I don't know if I'm ready to do this.
What are you winding down to?
That was a work.
Oh,
No
okay.
big deal. I was just trying
I'm
to make
actually
it funny.
surprised.
Yeah.
I believed that. You worked
know.
me up like a mark.
Yeah, I said on my other show that I was watching porn while it happened, but I wasn't. But
It's believable coming
Yeah.
from that podcast.
yeah. So at the last second, I was like, dude, I'm not gonna do this. Like, especially, you know, something that really played into it was the knowing that I was going to PWG. Like, it wasn't as like I don't even know the word.
Urgent.
Urgent is the exact word.
So in the 11th hour, you bail.
No, it wasn't even 11th hour because.
Well, here's the thing: is this entire thing was the 11th hour.
Right.
To set the scene, about 3 weeks back, I applied for tickets
I remember that. Yeah.
to the premiere of Lucha Underground Season 2 down in Boyle Heights. I figured we'd hear back, we'd have plenty of time to plan it, we'd go down the night before, just like we're going to do with PWG.
Right.
I got an immediate reply that night saying, we're all full up. Sorry, screw you.
Right.
And so as T-Cat just laid out, the night before, I'm sitting there with my bud GT. We're like watching Netflix and playing the new Yoshi game.
Netflix and chill.
It wasn't even chill. We get rowdy when we watch Netflix.
And play Yoshi.
Yeah. Yoshi's hardcore shit, son.
Yoshi's tight.
I get the email at like 8 o'clock at night saying, hey, we had 2 cancellations, so here's your invitation to attend the tapings tomorrow at 1 p.m. I hope you can make it on such short notice, and I'm like RSVP.
Did this cost you anything?
No.
The tickets for Lucha Underground are free.
Yeah, because it's a TV audience thing,
Yeah.
so they have to give it away.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay.
The big thing is it was a 10-hour drive. We're all the way up near the
And the
Oregon
NDA,
border.
which you're going to get to.
Yeah,
Sure.
so they tell him at 8 p.m. that the tickets opened up for a 1 p.m. show in L.A. the next day.
And
he's here.
Like, I'm freaking out to myself, like, that's so unfair. Why did this happen? And then I realized, fuck it. I'm Lucha John. I can be capricious. And
Yeah.
I decided right then and there, I'm going to go.
You were going.
I dropped what I was doing, and I'm like, I have to get a hold of T-Cat. Let's go.
And he was going to go up until he decided, I'm not going to go.
And he bailed, so I turned to GT, who buries me in this podcast constantly because wrestling is gay and fake. But at the same time, he's always shown an interest in Lucha Libre. So once I showed him an episode and he saw just how over the top the
You like took the time to like put him over on an episode instead of hitting the road.
No, I wanted
And he
him to
went
know.
with you?
Yeah.
Oh, tight.
So we got in the car at 11 o'clock, and I just flew,
Wait.
dude.
So you get the email at about 8, and you're on the road at 11.
Yeah, at 8, I'm like,
So
let's
funny.
go. But let's
How
finish-
did you secure your invitation? Did you have to secure it and say, I'll take it?
Yeah.
Or do you-
I emailed back saying, it's like a 10-hour drive. See you tomorrow.
Wow. Okay. So you get down there. I get a...
So, yeah, I like, we
I have
drive
no
down
idea any of
in
this
the
is
middle of the
going on.
night, and I hate driving. I hate it. I can't
Yeah.
drive for more than 3 hours without losing my mind. But we started the drive.
But
I
for
drove
Lucha-
a 10-hour drive.
You drove the whole way?
Yeah.
for Lucha.
I only stopped to record updates. So
What'd you listen
there's
to?
going
on
to
the
be like
road?
a video capture of the pilgrimage. So we listened to... we mostly listened to live tapes of like Rush concerts the entire way down because Rush is variety.
Yeah.
So we head on down, but we're mostly bullshitting the entire way, talking about how Hitler's a great man and Debbie Gibson is the greatest musician of all time. You know, important topics.
Debbie Gibson?
Yeah,
Oh,
Electric
wait.
Youth, son.
We have to look her up.
All right, so
we get
you
down,
get down
there.
there.
I get down there early. It's 10 o'clock.
And he's going to go to the show with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're there. We get to Boyle Heights, and Boyle Heights itself is really interesting. You think that the temple being in the slums of LA is a work, but no, it's seriously this crappy Hispanic warehouse district in the middle of nowhere. But it's all like a work. It
Mhm.
looks like shit. There's graffiti and trash everywhere, but there's signs saying film here, call this number. And there were 3 different model shoots happening in the same area, unrelated to Lucha Underground. So, like, people in costumes that aren't even part of the promotion are hanging out in these city streets.
This is a great story.
So I get there, and I decide, dude, GT needs to pee. I need to get over on some Bell. Like, I want a cheesy gordita crunch. I am starving.
Guy drives 10 hours and eats Taco Bell.
Yeah, why don't you get like some LA like Mexican food
'Cause,
from
dude,
like a truck?
Dude,
Yeah.
dude, there was a truck there. You're jumping ahead.
Okay.
So we get out.
That's their concession stand. Is
And
a
I
taco
figured, dude,
truck.
I'm not gonna switch my. I'm not gonna repack it. I'm not gonna switch my shirt yet, and I'm not gonna put on my Phoenix mask, which I have right here that I wore to the temple.
Tight.
As I'm walking up there, I look over and I see people in the Lucha Underground T-shirt that says "Crew," and I'm like, dude, yeah, they're setting up. And then like we turn the corner and I look
Wait. What time is this?
like 10 o'clock.
And
Yeah,
it
it's
starts at 1?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got there hella early.
That's
so
about
I
the time that you hit us with the I just met Phoenix.
Yeah, so I turn the corner and look, and all of a sudden I see a guy. He's like just in a t-shirt and his like jeans, but he's still wearing the mask, like kayfabe only. And I knew immediately, based on his build and like what facial features I could see, it was the legit Phoenix. I don't think he speaks much English, but he understood me when I was talking.
You didn't
to
just
him.
recognize his mask?
Yeah, but I could have been wearing a Phoenix mask.
Everybody there was wearing a Phoenix
okay.
mask.
All right, but he was
No,
with the
everyone
crew,
there
though.
was wearing a Pentagon Junior
Oh, okay,
mask.
that's even better.
But I walk up to him like, dude, Phoenix,
That's this
like,
guy, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Huge fan, like, really love your work, and I'm pumped to see you.
Wait.
And he's like, thanks, man.
You walked
shook-
up to him and said that?
Yeah, and I
And
shook
But
his
you
hand.
weren't masked.
No.
Oh,
Otherwise, because I think he was out there because, like, friends of his had their kid, and I looked over and the kid had a Phoenix mask, and they took a selfie. Had I had my mask, I
You
would
could have
have
got a
photobombed
selfie.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
respect
I had
you
too
for
much
staying
respect, yeah.
kayfabe and not taking pictures with your.
I could not
That's
have
not-
put that up on any website or my Twitter or anything. Couldn't use it for
Could have
Kate.
put it on Facebook.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, because on there you're not a lucha. You're Iwasaka Koji.
Yeah, I broke kayfabe on there. I might delete my Facebook just because it's too out of kayfabe. That's how dedicated I am.
Just restart a lucha. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so you go in,
We walk
you see
around.
the show.
I wait in line. I meet this guy who parks next to me, who's like in a Pentagon Junior mask, and he gets out and he's like, "What's up, Phoenix?" And I'm like, "What's up,
Phoenix.
Cero Miedo?" And we like hang out in line. That's tight.
Was he a work lucha or was
Yeah,
he?
he was at work. This guy was like, I think my bicep is bigger around this guy. Mexican, had like the little Pedro stash, but totally tiny. Cool
That's tight.
dude. We just talked about like New Japan and how over AJ is the entire time we're in line.
So
So I get in, I get up.
We got to shorten the story a little bit. Tell us because you can't tell us details of the show.
No, but I can
Right.
tell you details leading up. So I get
Yeah.
up there, and the very first thing I do is they start to separate us into lines, and one line is to sign the non-disclosure agreement.
NDA,
Yeah, the NDA.
right?
Which is why I'm not going to break kayfabe tonight. I'm not going to reveal
signed
any
a couple
plot
of those.
details or any of the matches. The only person I'm going to reveal that I saw was Phoenix himself. So I go up and sign, and while I'm waiting in line, like the crew members keep popping for my Phoenix shirt and my Phoenix mask and my Mil Mascara shirt. So I'm like just shooting the shit with the people who work there. I get up and they're like, "All right, you're gonna sign the non-disclosure agreement. I need your address, your name. I need you to sign, and I'm gonna take a picture of you." So they take a picture of me, and I don't take the mask off. They just take a picture of me in the Phoenix mask, and then I signed Lucha John,
Of course you did.
and they accepted it.
So
like, Lucha John, the Taco Bell Mexican, was in the house.
legally, they have nothing to hold against you if you were to like tell their secrets.
I respect the case.
I know, but I'm saying because they allowed you to
No,
sign.
they
Lucha
will.
John.
They have the power of the Aztec gods in the temple. This is a sacred thing. They'll track me down. Mil Muertes will fucking kill me.
The temple kind of reminds me of Kickboxer, not Kickboxer 2, but Best of the Best 2, where they like find that like Vegas dungeon.
So tight.
Brachus.
So what was cool is because I showed up so early, originally they told me I would have standing room only seats in like the little balcony area. I got upgraded to front row seats right behind the barricade.
Yeah, you said you could spit in the ring.
Yeah, I could have like spit right into the ring.
That's pretty insane, dude.
So I was right
So you
up
got
there.
to see 2 episodes,
Got to see 2 episodes.
about an hour
Hit
each.
up the food
or...
truck on the way in, and I got my horchata.
Ooh, I love horchata.
Then I hit up the merch table, which I want to take this time real quick to discuss my merch. I buried my new Nakamura hoodie so I could wear this Lucha Underground hoodie.
And you left it at my house for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, but now I'm like permanently burying it.
That sucks. You just got it.
I'm repping my Prince Puma shirt because I love Ricochet. I think he's
You
one
bought
of the best
that
guys.
at the show?
Yeah.
Not into the shirts with like the rectangle on it.
No, hate
Me
the big
neither. I
square.
hate it. I hate it, but it was Prince Puma.
'Cause it just looks like you could have ironed it on in your bedroom.
This was apparently a special edition shirt only for the premiere, so it was more expensive, but I've got a Mil Muertes shirt.
That looks like soft.
No, it's the same kind of stuff you and I wear.
Alright.
Here's the important thing. So, I get in there, I sit, it's super up close, it's awesome being in the temple, like this sacred ground of Lucha Libre.
Uh-huh.
It's a hell of a lot smaller than it looks on TV, and it's better lit. They do a lot of post-production to make it look big and dark and ominous, but it looks cooler than any other place you'll ever be. Because every
Dude.
other place looks like a high school or some shitty
You haven't been in
sports
the
arena.
Legion Hall yet, though.
That's true, that's pretty cool.
Dude, like, to that point, like, I said that I have signed 2 non-disclosure agreements, and one of them was to go to Price is Right, and I was like, when I walked in, the studio was the size of this freaking garage. It was so small, and
Dude,
literally,
you went to a Price is Right.
yeah, on my honeymoon, sat up right up front, dude. Drew Carey like talked to us like in between, like when they were like. But anyway, all of their gimmicks. You know how the stage looks like it's like a football field?
Yeah.
No, all of their gimmicks are just wheeled in and wheeled out. It's crazy.
I knew that, but I assumed the actual studio was big.
It's freaking tiny. It's probably about as big as what you experienced.
But it's so tight because everything's made to look dilapidated. The one thing I will
like
discuss,
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Yeah, like a Jace. So what was really cool is we sat down, and things I can reveal since it's not technically part of the show. The area where they normally have the mariachi band up behind the stands has now been cleared away, and on that platform is a multicolored Dia de los Muertos style throne with an archway and a fucking throne of skulls upon which sits the current Lucha Underground champion, Mil Muertes. So he sits like King Conan the Barbarian and just watches all the matches. It's legit as shit.
Seems like you kind of revealed a little something.
I was going to say, you probably broke your NDA like 3 times there.
No,
yeah.
We were allowed to take pictures of everything that was happening as long as they weren't filming. So I do have pictures of the temple.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, what was cool is, like, Melissa Santos came out and she, like, laid out the rules of no filming during the show. She got compliments on her awesome shoes. I popped a boner. She's like,
Did she wink at you?
Yeah, she gave me a wink. I can't remember what I cat called out on her. But
was it a full body boner?
Yeah. Like, I was just erect spiritually. And then comes down Matt Striker and Vampiro, and Vampiro cuts this, it won't make it on TV, but this really awesome promo, like, thanking everyone here for helping make Lucha Underground what it's become in one short year.
That's
and
crazy.
he just gets nuclear pops, and everyone's, like, amped up with him in the ring, getting us pumped. And after that...
He was a hype man.
Yeah, after that hype builds, Matt Striker goes around and starts handing out merch. You said you wanted merch for the Gorilla. I am not giving this or donating this, but this is now on permanent lend. I got this directly from Matt Striker, and it is a Season 1 exclusive Lucha Underground t-shirt.
That's so tight. Were they like, you just handing it to people?
Yeah, he's like throwing them out to people in the crowd. He goes to throw it, and it's about to, like, soar over my head towards this chick behind me, and I just, like, karate kidded that shit out of the air. I wanted Lucha Underground merch.
Right.
But, I mean, the matches were incredible.
How long were you in the temple? Like, was it a 4-hour thing, 5-hour thing?
I'd say probably about 4 hours total. I spent a hell of a lot of time in line where people just kept doing New Day chants and Cero Miedo chants.
Do you spend a lot of time in there where they might not be filming, they might not be doing like matches or anything, but they're doing other things to entertain you, so you get to actually be there longer and
No,
stuff?
most of the stuff is... One of the reasons Lucha Underground is so great is the camera work, and it's almost, in between matches, it's all the cameramen setting up. There's a guy with a huge hydraulic crane that can go all around. There's probably about 5 or 6 cameramen and women who stand around the ring, and, like, if someone does, like, a tope suicida over the top rope and starts coming at them, they will wait until they're right on them and then duck out of the way to get that awesome shot. I saw a ton of potential cameraman bumps.
So is there a lot of downtime at like a 4 or 5 hour event? Like
In the middle, there was
straight
like
matches?
a 20-minute downtime, but what was cool is Melissa would get in the ring and kind of like hype us up to keep us from getting bored. There's no way I was ever going to get bored. Like, I was nuclear the entire time.
Yeah, that's insane, dude.
The
I'm
matches
happy
are
for you,
awesome.
dude. That's pretty awesome that you got to do that.
I had to go because that's once in a lifetime. I think Lucha Underground's the best thing to happen to wrestling in 20 years. So I had to go. I had to be in the sacred temple and like fucking... I've like experienced Lucha Libre
the
apotheosis.
temple or the warehouse that's purposely dilapidated in downtown Boyle Heights.
But great
I love
matches.
it.
I urge everyone to tune in January. You can look for me. I'm going to be in a pink Phoenix mask. And if at any point Lucha Underground does like the WWE, you know how WWE at a controversial moment, they'll pan the crowd?
reaction?
Yeah, a fan reaction. There's a moment where I'm so exasperated, my hands are up underneath the eye holes of my mask, gripping my hair, and I'm like flung over the barricade in despair.
I can picture it.
Like, just
That's awesome.
absolutely deflated. So, look for me.
That's
Lucha
awesome,
John
dude. What a
representing the
great
Put 'em Over
story
group.
for the Put 'em Over podcast. I mean, like, that's awesome, dude. You got to experience Lucha Underground.
And I got to find out for you what kind of beer is served at the Legion Hall.
Did someone just tell you that? Like,
So I was sitting next to... So I met a guy, and
Yeah,
this
I'm
is a
gonna-
shout out. There's no way he'll ever find out about this show, but a guy named Atox,
Okay.
and he's tight. He lives in Las Vegas. He goes to the Paragon Pro shows. He knows the Whirlwind Gentleman. He's the ticket guy for all the PWG shows.
And he knew what was on tap. What was on tap.
Yeah.
I like
so I'm going to hit him up.
Yeah, we should get our tickets through him.
Well, no, he's like, he takes your ticket at the door.
Oh, I thought...
Oh, he's like just a ticket. He's like a stub guy.
Yeah, he's hella cool, though. He said he was working that one time, and he walked in the back, and he said, dude, I didn't get it. I looked, and there was like this tiny old Japanese man who looked like he was 800 years old, like some kind of Oni demon, with long black and gray hair. And it wasn't until he put his mask on that I realized I just walked in on Jushin Thunder Liger in the dressing room.
That was going to be the punchline.
Yeah, and I'm like, I would start urinating immediately and bowing. And he's like, yeah, the only way you can work these shows is if you promise not to mark out.
I love that you guys kayfabed me for like 4 days. You never even told me that you were on the other end of this Lucha show, that you were going to go with him.
Wait, that was the plan originally. Same with PWG.
Yeah,
he
the original
just bailed.
plan, yeah.
Like, GT was an audible. He did a run-in, and it was fun to have him along because he doesn't like wrestling, and like getting his reaction. He enjoyed himself. He said it was much better live.
Yeah.
Like, he gets it, I think, a little bit more after seeing the showmanship and, like...
Love GT.
Well, you took him to a Lucha show, and it's the best Luchas in the world.
Yeah.
I mean...
God.
So, that's awesome, dude.
Good show.
So, we have a list gimmick this week, or I have a list gimmick. I guess you guys didn't put one together. But
I was playing Yoshi again, so I kind of buried it. But I'll pull a T-Cat and I'll pull one together on the fly.
you could do it on the fly. It's pretty easy. I mean, I guess you don't need to put them in order.
I'll put them in order.
The reason that I wanted to do this is I was driving to work today, and my old classic iPod just constantly shuffles in my truck with like 4,000 songs on it or something like that. And this particular song came on. It was intro music for a 1980s superstar, and I was like, dude, I want to do a list gimmick for the best heels. So I thought top 5 heels from the 80s and 90s.
And let's specify, because you kind of threw this all over the place. I'm assuming you mean the WWF and WCW Golden Era. So everything before the Attitude Era.
Yeah,
so
like
85 to 97.
Yeah, like basically like the birth of WrestleMania, which was what, 84.
97, yeah, that's like the very beginning of the Attitude Era. So
yeah.
Yeah, I guess you would say like, yeah, Attitude Era. And I didn't really include anyone from that. I have one guy on my list who held over into the Attitude Era, but he was way better before that even started. He was already super over. And so I'll start my list if you guys don't have anyone. My number 5 is Sergeant Slaughter. And
he would flip-flop quite a bit.
Yeah, but here's his, like, and I was doing some network session today, like watching some good Sergeant Slaughter stuff, and his like Cobra Clutch gimmick where he would like challenge people and say, "I'll pay you $5,000 if you can break it." Like, dude, he was filthy.
They ripped that off like 20 years later with the Master Lock Challenge.
And then Bob Backlund was like a super duper like face champion in the early days of the WWF, like early McMahon days, and he had that big nasty feud with Backlund, and then he had the $10,000 challenge to Pat Patterson, where he actually let go of the hold on Patterson, so everyone thought Patterson beat it, and then he just beat the crap out of the guy anyway. And so, yeah, dude, Sergeant Slaughter was a nasty heel, but like the most heel thing ever, which is why he made my list, is when he turned his back on the U.S. and because Nikolai Volkov was like, and so he started supporting like the Desert Storm, like the Iraqi regime in Desert Storm, because he said like the U.S. regime was like weak. So that was my number 5.
That was some nuclear heat.
I think Sergeant Slaughter is a pretty great heel.
Am I going?
Yeah, you go. I'm gonna force you in the spotlight.
Well, I have 4.
Just throw out stall. Throw out like one that's the absolute bottom for you.
I'll go number 5 with Iron Sheik.
There you go.
Like, I love like the scummiest, like nastiest, most violent heels are all the guys that I'm gonna like every time, and just like with his feuds with Hulk. Just the amount of booze, like he could get you to hate him pretty easy, and it was always
his feud with Randy the Ram Robinson too. He was in The Wrestler. Remember that?
Love that movie. How come we've never watched that? Like,
he's never seen it.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I've seen the important part with Marissa Tomei's tits.
Yeah, she
Like,
plays
that's
a stripper
the
in the movie.
Most important
Dude, the
part.
best part is when he works in the deli and the potato salad.
It
dude.
is like all the
So-
all-time best.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
A little more.
and I also love Iron Sheik's role on the Howard Stern show. He was like became like a guest on the Stern show. And
Yeah, I thought about Sheik too. I just didn't know quite enough about him. I knew him a little bit more about Slaughter because I had like his action figure. when I was a
he's
kid.
hella funny on Twitter currently. Iron Sheik, very
Tight.
good.
Dude, he's hilarious. He's one of the funniest guys in Shoot.
He's
Like,
got
he's like Hulk Hogan. He's been in the business so long,
Yeah.
he doesn't know how to turn it off.
yeah.
So my number 5 is actually my number 1 from a previous list, and that's just because of the sheer amount of heat they generated for me as like an underage mark, and that's the Blue Bloods. I'm putting a tag team on my list. Like,
Do it, man. It's
fucking
whatever you
Steven
want.
Regal and Dave Taylor just pissed me off so bad as a kid, and I'd always get worked and just fucking scream at the TV for them to like jog to Harlem Heat. So I have to put them on the list. And Regal, he's been face heel,
Right.
but mostly he's been a heel and a total badass. So even throughout, outside of the era we're talking about, like Regal's one of the all-time great heels anyway. So
Well, when he's
Blue
on
Bloods.
heel, he's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I mean, those, like, to me, you talk about, like, the guys who are bloody and mean. For me, a really good heel is not just generating heat, but they have to be pretty funny, too.
yeah.
That's why I
They
love,
don't have to be. It helps.
for me to like them. That's why I like
Okay, yeah.
Steenster so much.
Yeah.
Like, that guy's hella
Yeah.
funny when he's generating heat.
Right.
So,
So, I figured you'd put him on. I thought about them too. And I actually almost put the Mouth of the South Jimmy Hart on my list too because he's like a great heel like manager.
I actually eliminated him about 5 minutes ago in my head. Like, I love
Yeah.
him.
All right, so my number 4 is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, period, and that is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. And when he was like an early like heel, like basically starting from when he broke up the Rockers by putting Marty Jannetty through the barbershop window, which became a t-shirt company. But anyway, yeah, he broke up the Rockers, broke up a bunch, but like women loved that guy, like everyone else hated him. He was such a dick backstage. Like there's
Yeah,
countless.
that was a shoot.
Yeah, like there's countless stories that he was like a real life heel backstage. But like, you know, when you said last week on the podcast, I thought about this today when I was putting my list together. You said last week that the WWE hates face versus face matches, but they used to do stuff like that all the time. But it was mostly heel versus heel matches, and his like super famous ladder match at number 10 at WrestleMania 10 with Ramon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two super over heels that everybody hated. It's like, who do you pick to win that match? Like, who do you
That
want
was
to win that
easy
match?
for me because I hate Scott Hall.
Well, I love.
If it had been against
yeah.
Big Sexy, I would have been.
Yeah,
fine.
that match was kind of thrown together like at the last second, so they really had no way around it.
But I mean, yeah, exactly. So
And it turned out to be one of the great WrestleMania classics of all
it
time.
is. It is a class. I would put it on my top 10 list of WrestleMania matches.
I think I would too, and I don't
Yeah.
even like Scott Hall.
Dude is great. But yeah. So when he puts Jannetty through, because he broke up one of the most beloved tag teams of all time, and when he puts him through that window, we got one of the best heel runs of the '90s, and that's HBK.
Pretty good.
And he was my holdover that was in the Attitude Era, and he was the DX. But I
Yeah, but-
hated DX HBK.
But that's the thing is, like, he was a heel before that. I didn't include him in my list just because he's flip flopped so many times, even back then, because he started face
yeah.
ish.
Number 4?
Number 4, I'm gonna go with Ravishing Rick Rude.
That's a tight one.
So good.
Like always been one of, like I have my top tier of like favorite people. You know, like the Ric Flair, Chris Jericho.
Why
CM
wouldn't
Punk
you
guys.
love the sleaze?
And right under, like the second tier of like my favorites, like Rick Rude is always there.
So good.
Love it. And I want to get like a shirt of his. I've never pulled the trigger. Like I think a Ravishing Rick Rude shirt would be.
There's a
legit.
sick one, like the Sup Lady shirt.
Yeah,
It's
like the
pretty
yellow
sick.
one.
Yeah.
I've seen that. But yeah, dude, every chick in the audience wanted to fuck him. Every dude like either wanted to be him or like hated him. Loved it.
Dude, he had like a pose down with the Ultimate Warrior, dude.
I did not like his like late run as like the DX guy, like in the suit.
No.
Like that Rick Rude, not as cool.
Same with Mr. Perfect. They ruined Mr. Perfect with doing the same thing to him.
Yeah, I'm talking like prime, like
Yeah.
80s Rude, where he would pull off the robe and do like his like Val Venus adjacent.
The
Yeah, he
The-
was one of the guys who kind of set the standard for the like narcissistic ladies man heels.
Yeah.
He was one of the
Of
first
course, I'm
big
gonna love
ones.
that guy. Yeah.
The
Like dude, you need. I'm gonna say it again. You need to watch some Golden Age TNA because Bobby Roode, like his earliest gimmick was basically being Rick Rude at Jace.
Is that why his name is Rude?
I always assumed he picked that name because of it.
And great matches too. The guy was hella
Yeah,
good. Like
he was
people
really
don't talk about how
he was super
great
good.
he is. in the
Very
ring.
underrated superstar of the WWF.
The era that you're talking about, and it makes me wonder how I even forgot to put him on my list. Like, he was so good.
Number 4 is a guy who was a heel just because of what his background was, and given the rednecky, stupid kind of people who watched wrestling in the 90s, this was natural, not to mention the guy can be a completely hateable piece of shit, and I love him for it, and that's K-Dog, Conan.
He
Love
was
Conan.
such a turd.
Love Conan, dude.
Yo, let me speak on this. God, he was
Like,
a turd.
he was just that Chicano, urban, East LA kind of piece of shit, and, like, any redneck's gonna hate him for it, and he was great. Like,
he was great.
He's one of the best luchadors of all. I have nothing but respect for him, but as a heel, he's amazing.
I always
In
pop.
TNA, he was great, and now in Lucha Underground, he's great. He's just continued to be an amazing heel.
I always pop for like how he like sagged his pants,
Yeah!
but they were like sewn to his boxers so they wouldn't come all the way down.
What a
It was
word
like
shit!
that was such a great one, dude. I always like loved that.
Yeah, love Conan.
So my number 3 is simple. I'm just gonna say his name because we've already said enough about this guy on the podcast and how brilliant he was. Roddy Piper. That's it.
Mhm.
That's my number 3. Don't need to say anything else.
Well, me, number 3.
Mm-hmm.
My number 3, I'm gonna go with the $1 Million Man.
There you go.
Just because I was always, every time I watch like a pay-per-view or event from his era, I'm always hoping that he comes out and like does something to like mess with it, like buy someone off, like use like his money to like fuck with the event and somehow.
Loved it.
And I was listening to a different podcast. They were talking about the tournament for the current like WWE title, and they said something that like made sense.
It was Court Bauer.
He did. He said like back in the day, if
He
they
would
were
have
doing
bought
this,
his way in.
like the $1 Million Man would have come and like bought his way in or done something to kind of mess it up instead of just being so generic. And like there needs to be someone like that now. That can,
I think Gorilla needs $1 million belt replica. Like, we gotta have it.
that'd be expensive.
Yeah, maybe.
So again, someone else, my number 3, someone who's very much the antithesis of the low-class working man type that watched wrestling in the 80s and 90s. My number 3 is also Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. That guy's a fucking piece, too sweet. That guy's a fucking piece of shit. Like, the way he would just smugly roll around with the money.
And
He
a
had his
slave.
own house Negro. Like, just, what a fucking asshole. I loved him. That guy radiates charisma. You loved to hate him because he was so damn funny. Just piece of shit. Love him.
When I was driving to work today, this was the song that came on, and it starts with
The lie. Oh yeah, how come we not mention the lie? Greatest lie.
Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, was my number 2.
And we're at the 25th anniversary of The Undertaker, and he was
And
the guy that
yeah.
introduced The Undertaker.
That
yeah,
is correct.
and I put him on my list for all the reasons that you guys said, but the number 1 reason was because of the way he treated Virgil
The best.
is the best. And like the funny thing is Virgil to this day is still like super funny. It like didn't ruin him to like play that character. And in today's world, you could not get a black guy in the WWE today to play that character. They wouldn't do it. They're too prideful, and they're.
I don't know. It feels like Wuhan Nation's playing it and shoot.
No, I don't think he is, dude. He's not getting like money shoved in his face or slapped in his face and like.
I guess that's true.
Dude, Ted DiBiase used to take money and like shove it in people's mouths while they were laying on the mat, dude. But
Just it.
and then one of my favorite things when I was a kid was like the big collection of action figures, and there's this like action figure, and he's just in a black suit with a dollar sign on it, and that just always stuck out in my head was Ted DiBiase. So he was the reason I wanted to do this list, and the only reason he didn't make number 1 is
because we already know who your number 1 is.
because when I put my number 1, actually I don't think you do. I'm about 95% positive you don't know who it is unless you've looked at the screen.
No. Haven't.
And there's the only reason Ted isn't number 1 is because when I really started thinking about the list, I could not think of anybody else who was like worse personally for me than this guy. So go ahead with your number 2.
For my number 2, I'm gonna go with Bobby the Brain Heenan.
It's a good one.
He's a piece of shit too.
I thought long and hard pause about putting him number 1. I wanted to, but my number 1 is a little better. But just looking at him from his announcing is enough, dude. Just him and Gorilla Monsoon, perfect heel, dude. Didn't work. And then the Heenan family, him in the ring. The fact that there was really not much of a threat of him ever getting physical, but he still could like piss you off, like the best.
Right, he was dirty, dude.
Yeah.
My number 2, I actually swerved it in the middle of this and called it an audible because you used it, and I realized, like, even though he was a heel and a piece of shit, Roddy Piper will always be a face in my mind because I've had nothing but love for him since I can remember seeing him on the TV.
Yeah.
So Sonny Ono is my number 2.
Wow.
That guy fucking pissed me off so bad all the time as a kid.
Such a Lucha John pick.
Dude,
like,
he's a WCW fan, man.
he'd walk out and just be such a smug little foreigner prick with bringing out like Meng and all these hulking Polynesian Japanese dudes.
God.
He was the Japanese equivalent of every foreign threat that's been the gimmick of heels since wrestling's inception. Same as Volkov, same as Andre the Giant, same as Iron Sheik.
Paul Bearer when he came out with Kane originally, like super like, but that was just attacking Undertaker period though.
Yeah, so like Sonny Ono is just the guy was great on the mic. He was like the Ching Chong version of the Mouth of the South. Just this little weasel that you love to hate.
Right.
Love him.
So my number 1, I think it'll shock you guys.
If it's not Ric Flair, you've shocked me.
No, because I think Ric Flair is a great tweener, so I wouldn't have put him as my best heel of all time.
But he's the dirtiest player in the game.
Yeah, but he's so good at like being like making you like him, even though. I mean,
Yes.
I love Ric Flair. Why would I say he's the best heel ever?
Because I love all the heels on my list.
Yeah, I know, but
I think it may actually no, it's not my number 1.
okay, my number 1. I based this decision on the fact that like I had nuclear heat for this guy, and I don't think anyone ever has or ever will get any more heat than this guy got, and that's Hollywood Hulk Hogan. When he turned heel, and when he went into that NWO gimmick, the Hollywood gimmick, there wasn't a time where that guy was on my screen where I was like, I wasn't saying I hate this guy. I hate him. I never even liked the Hulkster before this, and this made it even worse. You know, and now I love the guy, but...
At Bash in the Beach, when he turned, the ring was filled with garbage.
Garbage.
People were so mad.
There will never be a more nuclear pop and heat than what he got and what he continued to get through the first couple of years of that run.
Yeah, and it was one of the best booking decisions for a creative to ever pull in any promotion to create a draw, which is why WWE is fucking retarded for not having Cena turn. Because the heat would be extreme.
I don't think it'll be as big as the Hulkster.
Yeah, it would. Because you gotta realize all of the people watching now weren't necessarily watching then, and if they were little kids.
It's not going to work for one reason. And
Cena's not as good on the mic.
No, it's the reason that's always cited, and it makes sense, is it's going to be the exact same because people boo him, people cheer him. It's just going to reverse, and he's going to get the same reaction. Like Hollywood Hogan was universally loved, or Hulk Hogan was universally loved. That's why he was universally booed.
Yeah, I mean,
like the guys like us, when Cena turns, we're gonna like pop for that, and then the kids are gonna boo. So it's just gonna be a reverse reaction.
They threw a parade in a major city when Hulk Hogan came to town. A parade, like a Super Bowl championship parade. Like that's how big of a deal it was when the Hulkster came to WCW. And I mean, there was not a more over piece of merch than like the foam hand to the ear thing. You know, and like every kid tried to tear their shirt off. I don't think John Cena's that universally loved. I think that the kids love him, and I think that like He is like the face of the business now, but Hulk Hogan is the face of wrestling, period, for the rest of time.
The best way to get Hollywood Hogan heat a Jace is to put the NXT Women's Belt on Eva Marie. Which would be...
Don't even fucking joke.
It would
about
legitimately be a
that. I would
brilliant
legitimately
idea.
never watch WWE again.
And here's why the correlation isn't there, is look at what Hulk Hogan looks like, the handlebar
He
bleached
looks
mustache.
like a piece of shit.
The
moment he
the
stopped having
balding
the
and-
bleached blonde and
Right.
the bright colors, he looks
No,
like
I
a
know,
piece
but
of
like
shit.
if you look at Hulkster versus John Cena, like John Cena just kind of looks like a regular guy. Hulk Hogan looked like something different you've never seen before, and that's why.
He looked like every guy in the 80s. He had a mullet and that friggin'
Yeah,
handlebars.
dude, he still stood out.
My sensei looked like that in the 80s.
Always drops his sensei.
Yeah.
It's tight.
Anyway, Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
What's your number one, TK?
My number one is... he probably doesn't deserve to be number one, but I think that he could be, and I always try to like throw a little, tight stuff into this. But my number one is Michael P.S. Hayes and the Freebirds.
Nice.
There you go.
Too sweet.
Too sweet.
Like,
I'll give you a too sweet.
The Freebirds Von Erichs rivalry that lasted like 20 years was great, and like
It was my number... What wasn't it? My number 5 feud of all
it
time?
was in the top 5. I remember
Yeah.
that, and just the way he'd come out with his long ass hair and like big ass robes. With like rocking like Confederate flags, like I'm a big Confederate flag mark, so I pop for
Because
that.
it pisses people off immediately.
Dude, he
It's
can-
swastika
for the
Jace.
stupidest
I'll
reason.
pop for that even harder though. But he had Confederate flag face paint at one point. Like he did, dude. He's perfect. He would piss people off. Great on the mic, great in the ring. Real life heel to this day. Like I salute Michael Hayes.
It's a good call. Great talent scout too.
This guy makes it on my list of heels because he had not done any kind of face turn during the era of which we're discussing, and it should be absolutely no fucking surprise. Going back to the pilgrimage, it was really cool being in line and being around the crew and sitting down among all these marks. I can't count on all of the digits on my body. I cannot count how many times people brought up that Friday was the 10th year anniversary of the passing of Eddie Guerrero, the greatest heel of all time, Latino Heat.
There was zero doubt in my mind that he would be your number
Yeah,
one.
he's the best. He's the best, period. He's the best at everything ever. And of course,
You've said that about 4 different guys on this show, I think.
No.
but
dude, Eddie's my all-time favorite. And
he's your all-time. Yeah, exactly.
the guy was fucking... Anytime he'd go to that dark place and be the most heel possible, like a lot of the heel stuff we got back in WCW, the way he would just brutally work injuries in the ring, the guy was... He'd be somewhat lovable and charming, and then the chips were down, and he would be fucking downright evil
The
in the ring.
thing that I think about with Eddie Guerrero and being a heel is he is the best that I can think of at being a heel in the way that he actually like wrestles.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing to go on the mic and like be a heel and like the actions you do outside the ring, running in, DQ type finishes, but just like you said, like the way he would like work somebody's like leg if it was fucked up. The way he would wrestle like a heel.
The way
is,
he'd
like,
put his
unmatched.
foot out when the ref couldn't see, when someone was reaching for the rope to break a submission, and he'd push the rope
All
away.
that.
Or stomp their hand. Like, Sasha Banks makes me so
Yeah.
proud because she's taken that. When Bayley was reaching for the rope, she would stomp the hand down.
Dude,
Classic Eddie.
That story that Rey Mysterio told on Conan's
Oh,
podcast
amazing.
about how like they had that match and there was that one move that Rey was totally he botched it, but
And
Eddie corrected it
Eddie
like
saved
on the
it.
fly, and it looked like the greatest, most like perfect move ever.
That's, like
To
I
watch
said,
that
like,
match.
all throughout everything, Eddie's just... We've lost a lot of wrestlers. I don't think any loss has been as great as Eddie Guerrero. No one, not even Owen Hart, no one else has died too early in this business that had so much to give to that business.
I was gonna say, like, I'm glad you clarified it with that because Dusty Rhodes really hurt.
Yeah,
Lot of
Dusty, and he was still giving
He
to
was
the
still
business
giving
a
to the business,
lot.
but he wasn't in the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm talking about dying too early, but
Eddie
yeah,
Guerrero was
Dusty's-
still was a Mania main eventer when he died. There were plans for him at the following Mania
which is why Ray got his spot and Ray got strapped again.
That's so awesome.
To me, he'll always be the main event of 21. Like 21 opened with a Technicos match against Rey Mysterio that was just incredible and set the tone
What
for the rest of the Mania.
if we can do this without making you too emotional? Like, what was the moment that you found out Eddie died? Like, what were you? Do you
Dude, I
remember?
was yeah. Dude.
It's one of those I remember where I was moments.
I fucking found out the moment I woke up because it was like in the newspaper. And like I was in college, so I was like ready to go to school, and like I had to present that day, and I like skipped that class because I wasn't like gonna get up and talk. I was like catatonic the rest of the day. Like in my life, there are only 3 celebrities whose passing has legitimately brought me to tears, and it's been Jim Henson, Eddie Guerrero, and Iwata Satoru. And that was this year.
Iwata Satoru?
Yeah, he was the president of Nintendo up until this year.
Don't bury me for this, but I don't know who Jim Henson is.
Muppets, dude.
Bullshit! Let's fight right now.
Jim Henson Creature Shop, dude?
The fucking Muppets?
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah,
Christ
okay.
on the cross.
Well, I know the Muppets.
And
I quit the and the Ninja Turtles
Ninja
movies.
Turtles movie.
Labyrinth, Dark Crystal,
Okay.
motherfucker. Dude, like that's
He's
legit
basically
heat.
he's the creator of all
I don't know if
things
I'm
like
being-
puppet and costumes.
I don't even know if I'm being worked right now, but I'm
I
like
really
gonna
don't know who
beat
he
the
is.
shit out of you after the podcast.
All right.
You do now that we bring it up, though. It's like...
Well, I mean, I know the Muppets. I don't know the name.
please tell me
connected
who
to it.
Stan Winston is.
Oh,
I never
dude, I
heard
was
that
so
name.
bummed when he died. But by the time he died, CGI trash and
That was actually...
Replaced his
Stan
work.
Winston, that death was actually pretty emotional for our family because of my brother's experience in Hollywood.
That's true. He did the
Yeah.
special effects for
He
Pumpkinhead.
did.
I
He
can't
did. And
think-
he loved my brother. Like, they had a relationship up until Stan was gone.
I can't think of a celebrity passing that's like affected me in any way.
Like Iwata's barely even a celebrity, but yeah, Jim Henson. Because I was like 3 when he died. But like when I found out the guy who like voiced all the Muppets and like brought me Ninja Turtles the movie had passed on.
You know,
Like anyone listening at home, you're on or watching at home, you're on YouTube right now. Go watch the memorial service for Jim Henson when Frank Oz comes up and talk about him. If you don't cry at that, you're not a human being. Like
I'll watch it.
it's brutal.
I'm going
You
to.
won't care because you don't even like know or appreciate Jim Henson.
Oh, I thought just the speech itself was.
Now you need to
emotional.
like know who he
Oh,
was
okay.
as a person.
I'd probably cry.
Like that guy was a fucking bringer
Yeah,
of
you're
light.
a vagina. You probably will.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any celebrity deaths that really brought me to, like, actual tears. I mean, I know that, like, watching some of the stuff about Ultimate Warrior long after the fact still gets me pretty hard because, like, it's just emotionally terrifying, like, how the way that all went down. He gets invited back to the WWE. He goes into the
His
Hall of
death was
Fame.
an RKO, man. It was out of nowhere.
It was seriously, yeah. Like, I still want to believe that it's a work, dude. Like,
Yeah, there's been like
Crazy.
news events like that have happened that kind of made me emotional, but never like celebrity death or like a single like person's death.
I watched my mom cry when Princess Diana died, but she grew
Like
up.
that type
Dude,
of thing.
She's the
I heard-
same age as Princess Diana, so I think she grew up
What
like
about
really
MJ?
admiring.
I know
her.
exactly where I was when
When my-
Princess Diana died. I was on my Super Nintendo playing Clay Fighter 2,
Uh-huh.
and my family ran in and said, Princess Diana's dead, switch to the news. And I'm like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, something like
Playing
that.
Super Nintendo.
And I'm playing Super Nintendo, and I look up and said, I'm on the last boss, touch that TV and die.
Yeah.
Die
And
in a fire.
And they
Die in
like
a fire.
and they like went downstairs. They,
You'll
like, were-
join Princess Diana. Yeah.
I'll fucking make you die in a British car wreck. Do
Um,
not touch my Super Nintendo.
There was one I was just thinking about. I don't know how we got on this topic. How? Oh, Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie Guerrero, man,
Yeah.
like that devastating. Like I
Yeah.
fucking was just out of it all day.
Yeah.
And then the next, like when they did the memorial for him on Raw, like my entire family like couldn't even make it through that. We all loved Eddie so fucking much.
The wrestling deaths hurt, dude. They're rough, dude. And
Dude,
like
like,
we've dealt with some
when
really
you- when you
crushing
got-
ones the
When
last
you've
couple
got
months.
people who have these bombastic personalities that like set in your mind, and
you don't think they're
spend-
vulnerable to death.
Well, and you spend 3 hours a week with these people minimum.
Right.
I spend less time with my actual family members than I do with the Steamster each week.
Like when President Palmer died on 24, I was pretty emotional. I loved that guy. I'm
that
serious.
pissed me off.
That broke my heart.
Dude, not as bad as Michelle Dessler for me. That pissed me the fuck off.
Dude.
She was fine, dude. Rego Islesworth is fine.
There's some pretty emotional 24 deaths, dude. Edgar, When Edgar dies from the nerve
That was
gas.
bad.
Didn't bother me that much.
Oh, he's crying out for Chloe.
I didn't like Edgar.
I loved him. He's like
President
this-
Palmer was like the one.
President Palmer was rough.
Dude, we were getting way off track.
No, that's
Like,
fine though. It's kind of fun. I'm enjoying it. Like it's fun to like think about stuff like this because, I mean, what are we gonna review Raw? No,
No,
it's terrible.
Dude,
I've got a-
Dude, what about when Renee Walker died?
That was rough. Oh, when Jack had to shoot Curtis Manning in the throat, broke my heart.
I didn't
dude.
care at all because that season sucked so bad.
No, that was.
You know what
rough,
killed me
dude.
was Ryan, dude. Like the
Yeah.
way he goes out in season 3 is
Yeah.
so fucked up.
Oh yeah,
When
Jack
Steven Saunders
yeah.
forces him to shoot him because he can't pull the trigger himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you hate him all the way through
Yeah.
the first 2 seasons, and now
He
he's
is
a
a
goddamn
dick.
hero.
Yeah.
Right.
That was a
That made me
quick,
feel
that was a quick face turn.
Yeah. Like and then
really quick because everyone hated that guy.
I retroactively felt bad for hating him for
Yeah.
the first 2 seasons. There's a pretty to segue. There's a pretty big death we could talk about. That's the goddamn like creative energy that burst up last 3 weeks ago on Raw that made us excited.
The death of the WWE again.
Yeah. So let's talk about Survivor Series since this is the Go Home Put 'Em Over podcast to Survivor Series.
And it'll be better than the Go Home Raw.
Let me
It already is.
let me list off. This is one of the big 4. Let me list off the confirmed matches: Charlotte versus Paige for the Divas title.
I would have saved that match.
ADR Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens versus Dean Ambrose. Fucking 2 semifinals match for the main event. And then the main event. Whoever wins those 2 matches is going to face off for the belt. And then we don't even know what
do
the
you mean
match is going
whoever
to be.
wins? There's no way that's not going to be Ambrose and Reigns. They've already teased
No,
it
it
way
could
too
be-
hard.
It's not. There's no way it's not Reigns. I could see KO,
Maybe, but
Reigns.
it's going to be
I
Reigns.
just don't see it.
Well, yeah,
They've
it will
already
be
teased
Reigns.
it too hard.
but I mean, it could be Ambrose.
It
or
could
Owens.
be ADR KO, and they
It's
could
not
save
gonna
the
not
event.
be Reigns.
By the way, and there's also the Bray Wyatt Taker thing, but I don't even know what they're actually doing with that kind of match.
They set it up as Bray gets to choose any 2 he wants, and the way they set it up is that it's not going to be Bray. Bray is picking 2 out of the 3 other members.
That's so boring.
Wait. Who does he get to choose for his team?
He gets to choose between Rowan, Harper, and Strowman. 2 of those 3.
Yeah, 2 of his lackeys are gonna fight. He's not even in the match.
Well, that's the way they're presenting it. He could, but
It's not just going to be the Wyatt family versus Kane and
it's
Undertaker.
a 2-on-2. It's not Survivor Series.
What's the Survivor Series match?
Exactly. This is Survivor Series,
Yeah.
and we don't have a Survivor Series match.
Well, they've got to turn that Bray Wyatt shit into it.
That's what we
They
thought
did on
before.
Monday.
Well, maybe they'll do it on SmackDown.
Oh.
Maybe they'll do it on the freaking pre-show. I don't know.
Like we have 4 matches for one of the big 4 or 5, I guess.
Guys, I
technically.
slept through Raw, man. I was like in and out.
It was boring. This is what really broke
Was
my
the
heart.
Cesaro match any good? It was
It
long.
was hard.
It was like
to
25
watch.
minutes, yeah.
It was so hard to watch because Cesaro knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Everything he was doing in the ring was
Dude,
gold.
that
And all I could think is he's gonna lose this match.
bounce off that springboard like European uppercut
Yeah,
The
twist.
the
springboard spinning uppercut is fucking ridiculous.
Like how he nails that like every
Dude,
single
and-
time blows me
Dude, that
away.
move he did where he like bounded up on the turnbuckle and then like front flipped and then turned and like went into the roll up.
Oh, yeah.
It's stupid how fucking good he is.
Cesaro's really good.
And just buried.
Yeah.
Never gets anything cool to happen.
So yeah, I don't know, man. Survivor Series, I'm excited for it because it is a pay-per-view and anything could happen. Literally, last year Sting showed up in Survivor Series, and I never, if I was sitting there watching that on the network and I didn't know that that's when Sting came, I would have watched that event and been like, this sucks, this is terrible. And then there was that cool little moment where Dolph Ziggler takes out everybody on whoever's team, on the Authority's team, and then freaking Sting shows up.
Yeah, no Survivor Series match. There's no.
I'm thinking that there will be a cool, like, debut to make that, like,
There has to be a
Survivor
return.
Series match.
D-Bry is coming back.
Something's gonna happen.
But there's no tag title match.
Yeah.
There's no, because they're involved in other matches. There's no IC or.
I bet you Tyler Breeze,
US.
Dolph will be on it.
But they haven't announced anything.
Yeah.
They'll
Like,
set
how
some
do
stuff
they
up with
expect to
SmackDown.
build a draw when we are now what 4 days out, and we don't even have the entire card?
Well, SmackDown's already been recorded, so you could literally go and look at spoilers if you don't want to like watch it.
You know, it's
I'll do it
bad
right
enough that one of the pillars.
Don't think I will.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch SmackDown, so
One of the pillars of the pay-per-views each year is just totally shit. And what really kills me, out of all of this tournament, which we've had our debates on how fucky it's been, how dumb it is, how obvious it is, the one thing I was looking to take away from it was that ADR and Kalisto were going to have a match on Raw. And it was boring.
Oh yeah, and like ADR like botched like the fake mask pull and pulled off the entire mask.
Yeah, dude, okay, that part, like, I almost shit my pants.
I know,
'Cause,
that
he
was the
took
part I
mask
warned
the
you
whole
about.
off. I'm like,
Yeah, that was what I hit you up about.
holy hell. Yeah,
Like
and
you
had to,
saw, you saw his entire face on Raw.
like he covered it up really fast, but yeah, that was a bad
Zack
botch.
Ryder had a match versus Tyler Breeze on SmackDown.
Tight, I'm gonna watch that.
What was cool though is at least the commentary team jumped in and played it off as they're right. That's the worst thing Rudo can do is take off technical
Well, yeah,
match.
and it was also awkward, like seeing Del Rio trying to like help him get it back on.
So he got some good heat on that, but this angle with Mex America, like I was for it and I'm already over it.
Did they set something up? Oh,
They did Reigns and Ambrose versus Kevin Owens and Alberto Del Rio, and Reigns and Ambrose won via disqualification against the heels.
Well, I was actually going to watch SmackDown, so thanks for those spoilers.
I don't care.
I watch it because it's the only place I can usually see. I can see Kalisto singles matches on.
I'm gonna
SmackDown,
watch
so-
Lucha Underground. You're gonna tell me everything after this goes off the air.
Yeah, I don't know. I respect the temple.
No, I think I need to experience that season. I need to like watch it.
You need to experience
Okay.
the first season, bro. It's the best thing in wrestling today.
right.
So anyway, there's a few things for NXT we can talk about.
I mean, like aside from that Mary Kate chick, dumb name,
No,
great
I mean
look.
Finn and Joe are officially going to have a title
Whatever.
match at London, which kind of makes me happy that they're getting that Apollo Crews character out of the title picture. That was weird why they pushed him. if they
Nobody
didn't
has
need
one of the
to.
biggest feuds in the company right now. It's going to be him and Baron Corbin.
Yeah, I
the
know,
lone
but they're
wolf.
getting him out of the title picture.
Who fucking cut his promo in like a high school like hallway?
Yeah.
I kept waiting for someone to come up and ask for his hall pass.
God, dude, go to detention, McFly. Are we done?
Dude, I know I'm done with the WWE. I mean,
Yeah, I know you are.
there's just nothing that gets me excited about it. And
The only
especially
thing,
having
like you were
been in the
saying
temple,
tonight,
I don't
I'm
care.
excited to go to Mania.
Right.
And
I'm like not even excited to be at Mania because nothing will pop me as hard as like everything that happened at Lucha Underground.
Going to Access and Ring of Honor and just that'll be tight.
Yeah,
just
Ring
the
of-
whole
Super
week.
Card
The
of
whole
Honor
week's
will be
going to be
tight.
fun. Yeah, I mean,
Just the entire time, I'm just gonna be like.
at this
no-
point, do we just get the crappiest seats we can for Mania and just
No, 'cause
enjoy
I'm
everything
not-
else?
I was so close that I could like spit
Yeah.
on Melissa Santos,
Dude,
and I
that
wouldn't have been spit. Yeah,
No,
you
it
would have
should
popped for
been
it.
spit. Yeah.
God, you deviants, love it.
Do we even need to talk about that angle with Charlotte and
No, I don't need-
Paige?
I don't care. Anyone watch it? I don't even want to discuss WWE. Like my apathy is at an all-time high for this shit.
Apathy.
Just don't care. You know what I want to do? I want to turn this motherfucker off. I want to say goodnight to all the smarks listening at home, and I want to go see if we can hit up your El Rey network on demand and put you over on some Lucha Underground.
I want to watch Santa's Little Helper.
God. No,
Paige
it's,
and The Miz.
it's too WWE. I won't review that tape.
It's not even like. Should we watch that closer to Christmas?
No, I'm excited for it. Why would it come
Yeah.
out on DVD today if it was, or the other day if it was?
Because WWE can't fucking do anything right.
they botched the release date.
It's not even Thanksgiving yet. They botched that. Christ.
Hey, I'm pretty excited for Creed though. That's getting crazy reviews. It's
That
apparently
should be pretty cool.
It's-
You're a pretty big Rocky mark, huh?
the biggest. And apparently that's like the critics are saying that's a masterpiece of a movie, and it's the best film since the first one, which won Best Picture. They're saying that.
Bullshit, because one of them had Hulk Hogan in it, therefore.
Well, duh, Thunder Lips. Come on, bro. You can get a Thunder Lips T-shirt on one of the wrestling shirts. I think it's extremewrestlingshirts.com. So yeah, and they're saying Sylvester Stallone pretty much like should have already sealed Best Supporting Actor, and the movie might be up for Best Picture. So I'm excited for that. It comes out on Tuesday. I'm
Crazy.
gonna go watch it. You want to watch it?
Sure.
It's at
It's not
7.
even a Rocky mark. But
It's at
I
7
might.
o'clock on Tuesday, and I
I
have
might.
the day off actually.
So, alright, for Put 'em Over, my name is Lucha John.
I am Hurley. This is my gorilla.
Introduce me.
Ladies and gentlemen, making his way to the ring, the biggest piece of shit that has ever walked the earth, the living deviant, the absolute scum of all mankind, T-Cat!
Formerly known as
Honored.
Ryan Costanza, formerly known as Gallagher Bones, formerly known as Ryan Charles Thomas.
Gallagher Bones.
I kept waiting for you, formerly known as Vivid Even Lucid Dreams.
Dude,
Trying to get to
Alpha
that.
Brain will be here in a couple
All right.
days.
God. All right.
All right.
We'll
Have
let
a
you
good
have
night.
one.
Let's go get over.
The wrestling champ now entering the arena. I'm telling you, he is quite a sight. All decked out in red.
Why are they carrying him?
He's walking.
I'm coming after you, Alpha.
Let's call it off.
Oh, come on, it's for charity.
You're wearing your anatomy out for charity. Nobody else does this much for charity.
Bob Hope would.
That's true.
Rocky, you better call Bob Hope. To all my love slaves out there, Thunder Lips is here. In the flesh, baby.